Hello, this is Vedbjørn, and I'm going to talk about technology in Vedbjørn. So, first of all, this is an overview of what I'm going to cover in this video. First, just a quick look at the tech stack. Then I'm going to show how the logistic algorithm work, which is kind of the beating heart of the application. And then I'm going to show some of the functionality that is in Vedbjørn. So, okay, how is this built? It's a web application. It's hosted using Google Cloud, and these are the databases that is used. It's MongoDB and Neo4j, and then we have Cloud Run for running each of the applications. The web application itself is hosted on Firebase, and Python is the programming language for the backend application, and in the front end there is a React single page application. Furthermore, here's a little bit of how it's all connected. So as I mentioned, there is a React single page application running in the browser that is talking to the backend, which lives in Google Cloud, and we have REST server, and we have a WebSocket server, which is the two primary backend application that the front end is used to communicate with. In turn, they are both talking to a gRPC server, and in turn, that service is talking to both of the databases. So we have a managed databases here. We have for MongoDB we're using Atlas, and for the Neo4j graph database I'm using Aura. And then there are a couple of more services that is also using the gRPC interface. There is the emailer service and the route finder service. So it's actually the route finder service that I will be talking about here, which is where the algorithm is. So first, a couple of words about the problem that the algorithm is going to solve. So, as I mentioned, the algorithm is solving a logistic transportation problem, a little bit like the traveling salesperson. In this case, we have many users that are geographically spread, having a role as a buyer. And then we have another group of users which has the role of a seller. They are also geographically spread. And then there is the third group of users, which is the driver users. They are also spread. So the whole thing is basically to be able to do this, to figure out like an optimal route for a driver. That is making sure that the driver always has exactly the cargo needed to pass through the route, but not too much, and then passing through the seller along the way to pick up more, and dropping by packages at the buyer's locations. So that's the problem. Then I will be showing a little bit how this actually works in practice. So a couple of words about the setup that I have here. I'm using PyCharm, and I'm using Docker with Docker Compose. So as we can see here, we have actually all these services running locally on my computer. It's the first one we will be looking the most at right now, which is the route finder. So first of all, I'm going to show a little bit how the graph is building up as more users are added into the system. And to do that, I made a kind of a simulator, which creates realistic scenarios that we can step through. So we're going first of all to see. I will not be talking a lot about the code. I just want to quickly show just one little thing, which is at the step where we have an empty database right now. So the first thing that this simulator is going to do is to create a user and give it a role as seller. I think it was a seller. Yes, a seller. So let's give a look at that. And right about here, the first user has been added. So let's take a look at that, because this kind of is a bit important to show how the graph is building up. So let's take a look at that. This is the first user that has been added. So most of the nodes in this graph are geographically related, so to speak. So at the highest level we have the country, and then at the level below we see there is a county, and we can also see that the relationship between the country node and the county code is located in relationship. And this kind of goes all the way further down. Next level we have municipality. So in this case it's Oslo, which is located in Oslo municipality, located in Oslo County, which is located in Norway. And then there is a postcode, which also is located in Oslo. And then there is a road, which is located at that postcode. And then there is a location, which kind of summarizes it and contains also the exact geometrical coordinates. And then we see that that coordinate is the home of a user. So the yellow node here is the user node, and we can see that this user, the home of this user is this coordinate. And the final thing is what this user wants to do, basically. So we see that this user is associated with a sell request. Basically that means that this user is a seller, and we can also see that because of this wants to relationship. This user wants to sell, and the home of this user is this coordinate. So this is how the whole thing is building up. Now we can step a little bit further here to see how it's going to look if we make this let this simulator keep on running. So it's actually not a large graph. This is exactly as small as it can possibly be, which at the same time allows me to demonstrate all the aspects here. So it's going to be one seller, one driver, and a couple of buyers. So let's see how that's going to look. There we are. We can go and update the graph, and now we see it looks like this. So just to order it a little bit better, we see now that there are multiple postcodes in the Oslo municipality, and also we have these 4 roads, these 4 coordinates here, and these 4 users. So we see, and we see what this user wants. 2 of them they want to buy, 1 of them wants to sell, and 1 of them, the red one here, wants to drive, basically a driver. So that's how the graph is building up as more users entering the system. And now I will see how this algorithm works to kind of solve the problem that we were talking about earlier. And so let me go back to my pie chart. I will show that. So first of all, it's figuring out the potential sales that can be made. And once it's done that, we can update the graph to see how it has been updated. We can see that it's not the biggest difference, but we can see there's some new relationships going on here. There is something called a staged cell. It basically means it's a potential cell. We don't know for sure yet, because the seller is actually a user who needs to kind of confirm whether or not they want to move forward with the cell. And we also see that there is a reservation going on here too. And this is because this user has chosen to reserve products. So this is basically just a prioritization mechanism. So a user can actually buy to get ahead in the line to get the reserved products. This one doesn't have any reserves, but this seller has plenty of items in stock. So everybody should be there should be enough for everybody in this example. Let's go on with the algorithm to see what it's going to do next. It will try to organize the drivers. So now it's done that. Let's see how that looks. So here we can see that there is also a staged driver. This is basically the only difference since last step, that this is actually a driver too, that is associated to this seller. And then we can run through the rest of the algorithm. Let's go there to see how the final graph is looking like when it has run one iteration and figured out a potential let's call it a deal or a route. So now we can see that it's added some complexity to this graph right now. There is now a description in the graph for the route that the driver needs to follow to kind of complete the task, the mission. And we can see that by these arrows here. We have an arrow now which is pointing from this location, which is the location that is the home of the driver, and a new relationship between the coordinates that is a travel to pick up relationship. And the next is travel to deliver, and then also a final travel to deliver. So there is one pickup and two deliveries. And of course this was the easiest possible graph, and I'm going to show later how this is going to look when we have plenty more nodes. Then it becomes less visually clear how this all is connected, but it's basically the same. It will follow this system, even for very complex and very densely populated graphs. Alright, so now we can move on to the last piece of the video, which is to show a little bit how the user experience looks like. So normally these users aren't being put there by my simulation. They are entering the system as new users are registering in the web application. And so let me just quickly bring over the web app. So I am running a local server using npm and the node, and I'm gonna I'm using basically a trick which where I can pretend to be any of these users that I was using for the simulation. So as you see here, I have some hard-coded users that are being used as sellers, drivers, and buyers. Until there are no more users to use from this list, it's going to invent some users. So these users are actually connected to some emails that I have access to. So I'm going to begin by kind of impersonating the seller user. So then I need to go over to the REST server and define that as my debug user. It was already set, so it should be okay. And I'm gonna I'm using kind of a mobile view here because it's mostly used on mobile phones. So to log in, we have Vipps, which is a Norwegian application that you can use for sign in, sign up, and payment. So it's very popular in Norway for web shops and things like that. So I'm using that for logging in. I actually have captured a user already, so that will kind of quickly just log me in. And now we can see that I am logged in as this user here, stian@brodtech.no, which is the seller user. So let's see what this is going to look like for me now. So since I am a seller, I cannot choose to also be a buyer. This is just a limitation I put in there. I can also be a driver though, referenced from this levere item. This is in Norwegian. So if I click Celle, I'm entering the part that kind of covers the sales role. So first of all, you need to define a business, and this is because that how the payment for sellers and drivers work is that Vedbjørn is going to create an invoice for you and then send that on your behalf to Vedbjørn. So Vedbjørn is then going to pay it. So you're kind of automatically invoicing Vedbjørn when you have a sale or you performed a task that you should get paid for. So this is connected to Brønnøysund. So I can just quickly show. I will write an organization number in there. Let's just use my own holding company for that, just for the sake of the example. So I'll just paste that in there, search, so that will be that one. I can put a name that I want to be on the invoice. It could, for example, be Broen firewood sales, and then the number that you want the transfer to, the money transfer to go to, the account number. I'll just put something random in there, and I store that, and then I can go back. And once you have stored your business, you get to choose how you want to sell. So there are basically two main ways to sell firewood here. Is to sell like a big chunk one time. This basically is this button here. Then you will basically just automatically get contacted by Vedbjørn. But that's not what I'm going to show right now. I'm going to show the Vedbjørn, the normal way, which is to be associated to the graph where Vedbjørn will find continuously new sales for you, which will be delivered to the end users directly by the drivers. So what you do then is that you click on that, and we can now see that I have one stage sale already for me, because we saw that from here, right? There is actually a deal going on here that can potentially be put forward if I, as the seller, choose to do that. So you can click and you can take a look at the assignment. You see here there are 6 bags of firewood, and you can see there is an estimated revenue. And this, by the way, is just fictional numbers, so that the price here is not it's not real. It's part of the simulation. But I'm going to choose now to approve this task. So then it basically means that the next thing that's going to happen is that the driver, if all the sellers for a driver assignment has been approved, then it means that the driver is going to get notified about a potential assignment that he or she can choose to accept. So I will show you that. And to do that, I need to restart my REST server and impersonate the next kind of user, which is the driver user, so Stian at vedbjørn.no, which is the user we saw here. So this is the user that wants to be a driver. Alright, so let's try that. So I'm setting that, just restarting the server. Like that. I can get back to the application, just refresh, log in again. Alright, we're logged in. Let's check. Yeah, we have this user. So let's now go and check out our driver status. And also, for the driver, needs to provide some information about what information needs to be put into the invoice. This time I'm just going to be typing up something here. I already showed you how you can use a real company. Store, yeah. And then we can immediately see that we've got now an assignment. So then we can click on that to take a closer look at the assignment. Now we can see, like, geographically where all the spots are. We have 3 spots here. You can click on those, get more information. You can also click minimize this if you want to see everything at once, or you can also click on this table here, and if it all looks okay for you, you can then accept it. And then what's going to happen is immediately your assignment is in progress. So what you typically would do now is you will go out into your car and you would drive to the first pickup location over here, and when you get there, you take out your phone again and you click on this green button which says pick up firewood here. So when you do that, you will so what you're going to do is that you're going to click this pick up firewood button when you are arrived at the destination to pick up, and then what you're going to do is you're going to on your phone you will open the camera, as you can see right here. Now this is running locally, so you see it's connected to my web camera. But the point here is that you're going to create a proof that you have been picking up this firewood. So you basically will just take a picture of the load that you're picking up. Let's just imagine that this is some firewood, and we'll take a picture out of that, and you will move on. And you'll see in this table it will get noted that you're done here. Then you will drive to the next destination, and you will basically do exactly the same in your application, almost, except that you will now be delivering packages and not picking them up. And it says here in the text, here you are to deliver 3 bags to this buyer at this address. So you'll do the same thing. You will unload the cargo you're delivering, taking a picture out of it, and then you will move on. So let me just quickly also do this for the final destination. Taking a picture, moving on, and then we're done. So now what you can do is you have basically completed the mission. So it means that an invoice has been sent on your behalf to Vedbjørn by Vedbjørn basically sending an invoice to itself, which it will complete, and making sure that you as a driver is getting paid, and also the same is happening for the seller. But you can always go in and take a look at your earlier your previously finished assignments, and you can download a summary of the mission in PDF, so you can see a collection of everything that was done and where on the map you have been, and to see also the invoice that was sent by you. You can download that too from here, and you will see that this is the info that Vedbjørn has now, that it will use to make sure that you're getting paid. Okay, so now we can go to the final user type, which is the buyer, and see how things looks like from that perspective. So let's just change the impersonated user from the REST server, restart the service like that, and refresh, log in. Like that. So we can see now that we are this user here. Yeah. So this is the part where you have, by the way, also received an email about that you have gotten a delivery, and maybe I can show you how that looks like. Just hold on 1 second here. It looks like, yeah, actually never mind, I will not show that, because then I need to basically run the emailer service for it, so I'll just skip that. But anyway, it's not important, because what you're going to do is you're going to go in here, and you're going to pay. Click on this button to pay with Vipps. And this is where you basically put up your phone number. Now this is just a test setup with Vipps, so this is not what you, this is just a fake phone number. But especially for Norwegians, this will be like a very familiar way for paying, because a lot of web shops is using this system. You click next basically, and then you open up your Vipps app. So you will not see that at your end right now, but I'm opening the Vipps app, entering my personal code, and then I can see here basically that there's a sale, and I will just confirm that like that there. Right, now that that has been done, it's yeah, in this debug setup it's not forwarding you to back to the application, but in production you will basically just be forwarded back to this view right here, and now it's going to tell you that it's not been paid, but this basically is not been claimed. That's the main key takeaway here. So to claim the payment, I need to run my I actually need to run my emailer program because that's where that algorithm is. I just couldn't bother writing a whole new service just for that, so I just put it in here. I will just be claiming this payment right there. Should be done. And now that it has been claimed, I will just refresh that to show you that now you have paid it, and you can now go in, take a look at your earlier purchases basically, and it works the same. It's just here you kind of have like a receipt basically. You download the receipt like that, you get the PDF, and you look at it. You can use it for your accountant or your own personal bookkeeping or whatever. So that's that. And I guess the final thing to talk or to show is to get back to the seller user, just to show what's going on over there. So let's do that. Like that, logging in. Yeah. So so let's change this to the seller user, restart the REST server, and go back to the user experience, log in, like that. Check that we have the user that we want to, and we can go and in the same way as for the other users, we can go see that we have previously performed sales. So for this we can have a couple of things. We can go and download the invoice that was sent to Vedbjørn, like that, same as for the driver. And we can also go and pick up documentation for the pickup that was handled, and this will bring up the image that the driver was taking from the cargo that was picked up from your spot basically. Yeah, that's the last piece I was going to show you, and as a final thing to mention, Vedbjørn is actually live at vedbjørn.no. So head over there for the real production experience. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.